Okay, the table shows a number of goals scored in a number of hockey matches on a Sunday morning. 14 matches scored 1 goal, 16 matches scored 2 goals, 8 matches scored 3 goals, 8 matches also had 6 goals. So the answer to that is 8. What was the modal number? Anybody? 2 goals. How do I know that? 16 matches had 2 goals. That's the most. What was the total numbers of goals scored? Okay, this is going to be hard. 14 matches, 1 goal apiece is 14 goals. 16 matches, 2 goals apiece, 32. Next one, 24, 8 by 4, 32, 6 by 5. And then add them all together for me. Who got 180? Hooray. Now, how many matches were there in total? Let's add this row together. 30 and I think it's 30 and 30. 60 matches. That equals 60. So 180 goals in 60 matches gives me how much? 3 goals per match? Yes, 3 goals per match. Yeah, 3. But we're talking about 3 goals per match though. It dice with Joan 30 times. What does that mean all of this adds up to? All that has to add to 30, because that's how many times. Frequency means how many times did you do it. Okay. You ready, guys? Now, next thing I'm going to ask you is the following. Calculate the mean score. Okay. So 3 times I got 1, which is 3. 4 times 2. 6 times 3. 18. Next one. 8 times 4. 2. 7 times 5. 6 times 2. 12. What does it add to? What does it add to, lads? Anybody got an answer? $108. It is 108. So 108 scores in 30 throws. So what do we do then? 108 divided by 30. And what's my average then? We got a 3.6. Okay. The frequency table shows the number of books bought by 20 pupils in the past year. Find an estimate for the main number of books. Now, what does it mean by the word estimate? It's not going to be exact. So as an example, imagine 2 people bought no books. You get what I'm saying? There's 2 zeros. Imagine 4 people bought 5 books. In the next one, it could be 6 people. One of them bought 10. Another person bought 11 books. Another person bought 12 books. Then how many more people is there? It has to add up to 6 people, doesn't it? So if you're reading this, just forget those numbers for a minute. I'm sure I actually fried your brain there. So here's what I'm saying. 2 people got between 0 and 4 books. 4 people got between 5 and 9 books. 6 people got between 10 and 14, and 8 people got between 15 and 19. These are what are called intervals. Interval of 0 to 4, an interval of 5 to 9, and an interval of 10 to 14, and an interval of 15 to 19. Are we cool with that? Okay, now, the next thing I'm going to ask you is the following. What does mid-interval mean? So the whole point of this is we use what are called mid-intervals. It should say in the question, but it doesn't. So we're going to use mid-interval. Does anybody know what mid-interval means? Yes. The middle. What's the middle of 0 and 4? 2. What's the middle of 5 and 9? 5 plus 9 divided by 2? 7. What's the middle of 10 and 14? 10 plus 14 divided by 2? 12. Middle of 15 and 19? Huh? Okay, here's what I want you to do now. I want you to use those numbers. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 7 is 28. 6 times 12 is 72. So 8 times 17 is, what's 115? Add them all up and divide by how many? Not 4. It's not 4. It's 20 people. It's 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. Now, what happens when you add the top? What did you get? I got 219. Anybody else get 219? No. Yes, sir. It is 28. Anybody else get 219? All right. Divide that by 20. And I get an average of 10.95. 10.95 makes sense. Can anybody tell me why it makes sense? Look at 10. 9 and 10 are close to the middle, aren't they? So an average like that would make the sense. Would make sense. Okay, 100 people are asked to record the number of mobile phone calls they received on a particular day. The model group would be 45 people received between 0 to 4. So the model group must be 0 to 4. Okay, what's the greatest number of people who could have received more than 18 calls? What happens if we claim all 8 of these people received 19 calls? Do you get what I'm saying? All 8 of these people received somewhere between 15 and... I'm going to claim all 8 of them received 19. And then this person here receives something over 20. So what's the maximum amount of people that could receive a call over 18 minutes then? 19 plus... Oh, sorry, yeah. 8 plus 1, which is 9. Now, what about the opposite of that? Sorry, my fault. What's the least number of people who could have received calls less than 8 calls? Now, think about it. 45 people definitely received less than 8 calls. What happens if I claim all 29 people received 9 calls each? Does that put them bigger or smaller than 8? So they don't count, do they? So what's the answer? 0 for that one, but 45 for the 0 to 4. If I change that question to greatest number, what would I do then? I'd include all 29 people claiming that they only received 5 calls each. Who needs to go over that one more time? Find the middle, add 0 and 4 together, divide by 2, and you get 2. Add 5 and 9 together, you get 14. 14 divided by 2, 7. Add 10 and 14 together, 24 divided by 2, 12. Now as you're counting up in 5s, probably 17 will be the next one. It doesn't always work like this. Is everyone now to get the intervals now? What's the next part then? Not yet. You need to multiply them and then add them. So it's going to be 90 plus, who got 203? And 12 times 17, anybody? What you get? See the frequency? See the way it says 100 people? See the way it says 100 people? Okay, so 45 people experienced 2 calls. That's 90 calls in total. 29 people experienced 7 calls. That's 203 calls. 17 people experienced 12 calls. Did somebody say that's 204? Somebody say that? Okay. 8 people experienced 17 calls. What's that? And 1 person experienced 22 calls. Add them all up together. What you get? Huh? 625? 55. Who got 655? Okay, majority. How many people was that amongst? If you add all of these together, you didn't even need it, but if you added all these together, what happened if I added all those yellow bits together? It'll tell you there's 100 people. So I didn't actually need to tell you that was 100 earlier. You should have known. And then you divide it to get the average. And what do we think the average is? 6.55 calls per person. That's the average.